Sorry about that. Yeah, I remind myself of R. Crosby Lyle's the video he did on the called the Armageddon Line. His channel is called News from the Can, and it's got a picture of a roll of toilet paper. That's where I'm at right now. I don't have a roll of toilet paper, but I'm on the can actually. Handicap toilet thing. Anyway, the only place I could do it right now. I may get interrupted by cats. In fact, let me make sure the door's shut. One door anyway. Yeah, so we're good there. And I got something to drink, so I'll be okay there. If anybody's on, just let me know. I wanted to give an update for the situation of friends of mine out in California, Debbie and Steve, and they've been in a horrific situation for months, for years, really 8 years or so. There, if you're not aware of what's going on in this country, there are land grabs all over the place. People are selling homes and land to Chinese people, and just people from all over the world. But she said repeatedly, people would just walk into the house without an invitation, without a notice, without anything, just walk into the house and look around like they owned the place. And they ended up owning it. It was sold to them by the bank. Went to a 8-year foreclosure, and she staved it off for quite a while. Very, very sharp individual. But anyway, neither here nor there right now. So they were scooped up and taken up to a community up in the mountains above La Honda, California, 8 years ago, and they have not been able to get out. They're blockaded in with heavy construction equipment and junk and a whole stack, like a 6-foot high stack of semi-tires, which are very heavy, a couple 100 pounds. I couldn't move them. She can't move them. She's 72 years old with bad knees and a bad back. So they've been basically held prisoner, held hostage for 8 years, no way to get out. They blockade the road, one road, she has to go out the other road. Now have been rained on for days on end. And one day the woman who's running the operation, the con game, whatever you want to call it, needed to go to town because the county's wanting to foreclose on them and get them out of there. And so she was supposed to be in court that day, and there was like a horrific windstorm and rainstorm. And you understand this is not cedar, but a redwood tree, a big giant redwood forest, and these trees fell across the road, and so she couldn't get to town. So that's God's judgment. I mean, God's judgment is happening on this woman. And these individuals, she's got a bunch of several ex-cons. Jim is one of them. Her name is Vicky. So be praying for the situation. I'll go into what I know. I didn't have a chance to even to get in touch and see if there are any further updates, but so I can't give you any further updates other than what I last heard before I had to eat. I just had to eat something. I was just weak and tired and exhausted, so I couldn't hardly stand up. You heard the old phrase saying, "We work from can't see to can't see, from can't see to can't see." Well, I work from stand up to can stand to can't stand. When I can stand up and walk around, I start working. And when I can't stand up anymore, I stop working, because I'm about ready to fall over, so I better go take a break. I had a lot of things I wanted to do today. I got one thing done, and I'm in the process of, doing what I can do to help people. And I have a plan that's step by step, one point at a time, one thing at a time, so it's not going to happen in a day. Rome was not built in a day, and the new world is not going to be built in a day. A place of refuge for people is not going to be built in a day. People all over the Ozarks have farms and refuges and land, and are working toward that end of helping to take other people in. But it's not going to happen immediately. It's not fast. The things I got to do. So to recap for her situation report and update. When I did a video earlier, she saw the sheriff there. And she was there. Her and her husband were already in a panic. Now I want to say this: the scriptures say that the wicked flee when no man pursueth. So don't get in a panic. Panic kills. I had a situation the other day where I got bottomed out, the left side of the truck, in up to the axles. Literally, the running board is now damaged from that's how deep I was into the running board. And so don't panic. Panic kills. It's happened several times here recently with people. My son came over Sunday ago, and the couple that stayed with me, they panicked, and don't panic. This is no fight or flight is not good. You gotta be at peace. You gotta have control of the situation. You gotta know that God is going to take care of you. You gotta believe that God's going to take care of you because He has a plan for everybody on earth. And if you're part of that plan, He's He's gonna take care of you. Don't worry about it. Um, so, so when I made the first video earlier, I'm going to go back to that. She said the sheriff was down, the deputy down there laughing and talking with this ex-con, Jim. He's got like 15 arrest warrants for him. And they've done all kinds of horrific things. There's a construction going on, and she watched while someone stole a Caterpillar construction. I don't know if it was a Bobcat or something or larger than that. I don't know. But somebody stole it. She had some of it on video. Anyway, but that's probably them guys there, these ex-cons. That's what they do. Steal. Kill and destroy. That's what the enemy does. Steal, kill, and destroy. And this guy talked about killing people on a regular basis. The woman there, in front of a deputy sheriff, was joking about killing people and getting rid of the bodies, burning them or putting them in a 55-gallon drum with lye to, eat the evidence away. The sheriff was like, just red-faced and just embarrassed to even hear stuff like that, horrific stuff like that. So maybe earlier, since the deputy was laughing, I thought, well, bad sign. Bad sign. It's not joking with the criminals. But what happened was that the son saw that the sheriff was there. Christian I think he's the old, not sure if he's the oldest son, but he's a really good guy. He lives on the property, and they've been trying to get rid of him too. They drove the younger son away. The guy's name is Joe Jr. The man that owns the property's name is Joe, and his son Joe Jr., this woman Vicky, made his life so miserable that he left. Well, Christian got a hold of the deputy and talked to him, and so look at it. It may come down on Vicky. Fine, that'd be good. That'd be a lot of answered prayers. Everybody's been praying for the situation. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yahweh bless and every one of you, and I just believe that there is a God in heaven, and the time's going to come judgment for these evil people. Read Psalm 94, and if you don't want to read it, listen to a song called Psalm 94 by Sons of Korah. This is a group. One day my daughter Susie was in the house. She goes, there should be a musical group that just does psalms. That's all they do is psalms. So she looked online. She found the Sons of Korah. That's all they do is psalms. Well, they have one in Psalm 94 because it's about widows and orphans. They torture the widow and they kill the fatherless. They murder the fatherless. And widows and orphans are very critical in God's kingdom. You don't mess with widows and you don't mess with orphans. You don't mess with strangers in Israel, and you don't mess with priests. Because those are the 4 classes of people that you're supposed to take care of. Priests, strangers in Israel. Why is that? Because you were once strangers in Egypt. You're commanded to always take care of strangers. If there's a stranger, take care of them. Treat them like you would yourself. Now, people say, well, they have to be like, they have to believe the same thing you do, and they have to be the same people. It doesn't say that, but maybe that's true. Still, be kind to strangers, because you were once a stranger in Egypt. As a people, we were once a stranger in Egypt. And if we don't take care of strangers, if we do take care of strangers, in Hebrews it says that, be sure to entertain strangers, because by so doing, some have entertained angels unawares. So don't just start shooting strangers. You're going to be killing the angel that God sent to save you, knowing that you're going to cut your leg with a chainsaw, or knowing that you're going to fall down a cliff and break a leg, or knowing that you're going to, accidentally shoot yourself, or somebody's going to accidentally shoot you. And those things happen. Let me tell you. Heard a story just last week. Military vet. Girlfriend went out during the night. He didn't know. Came back in, shot and killed her. Shot her dead because PTSD and dark and everything, living off grid, no lights, no way to verify, just boom, 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 dead. So that happened. Now he's out for, I don't know if he's getting charged with murder or just, that wouldn't be self-defense, but, accidental manslaughter, so I don't know. Doesn't make any difference, but just don't assume things. I can't even tell if this is, hey. Yeah, okay, there's the time. Sorry, my neck hurts looking at this. I don't have a tripod right now. I had it loaded to go out in the woods and do stuff, but I'm going to sit back a little bit. I can't just sit back. Oh, man. I need a chair. Guests are here, and normally I do this out in my big recliner chair. Not recliner, but I need a recliner chair. Back in my desk chair, big, tall desk chair. Anyway, blathering. Sorry, I'm just situation update. Situation report. SitRep. So, let's see here. Be kind to strangers. And be kind to your brethren too. Be kind to strangers, but love your brother as yourself also. So, by this shall all men know that you're my disciples, that you have love one for another. By this shall all men know. Most people read it like this. By this shall all men know that you're my disciples, that because you hate everybody else and you can wagger them into the ground and browbeat them and insult them, and they have to believe the same thing you do. That you're all in the same doctrine. You're on the same page doctrinally. We were going to a church one time, and this lady told my wife, "We just went through a class on spiritual gifts, and none of us had this gift of mercy, so don't expect any." And the whole church is like that. We don't have any gift of mercy here. Nobody has a gift of mercy. Everybody's cruel and merciless. That's not good. That's not good. Hey, get out of here. No fighting. Out. No. Psst, go on. No, you're not. No. Get out of here. Get out. I'm going to go in the shower and get all wet and then walk on my bed. Come on. No. Another one. Graham. Don't have a squirt gun, so there they go. Oh, shoot. Where was I? Stranger in Israel. So, people are training with zombie targets, and one of them is guys in a white coat, doctor's coat, he got a stethoscope around his neck, but his arms all bloody, and people are shooting at that because this is zombie. Well, what if the guy got attacked by someone, got his arm cut, and is walking up to your house for help, and he's a doctor. He knows how to stitch you up when you cut yourself with a chainsaw 2 days from now. God knows these things are going to happen. Now, here's the other thing: is once you kill somebody, your conscience is seared, and you are damned, and you're going to keep doing it, and that is not a good place to be. So that's just my take on it. The idea of a Christian survivalist is an oxymoron, like military intelligence and other things like that. So, he is no fool who gives what he cannot keep to gain what he cannot lose. Messiah said that if a man seek to save his life, he shall lose it. But he that seeks to lose his life for my sake shall find it. So if you seek to lose yourself in the building up the kingdom of God, you'll be blessed. Blessed are the peacemakers. Blessed are the merciful. Blessed are those who are pure in heart. Blessed are those, read the Beatitudes once a day for about a week or 2 weeks or a year. And practice them. Don't just read them. You say, I read that. Yeah, I read that. There's a way which seemeth right unto men, but the way thereof is death. Pride goeth before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. I've had so many people that are so proud of their brain, their intellect. Where did you get your brain from? Where did you get your intellect from? Where did you get your skills from? Where did you get your talent from? From God, from Almighty God. And you should not be proud of it. You should be humble. You should be humbled by what you are capable of doing. Not proud of it. What do you have that you have not? Were not given. And I love the one. We're only doing that which we're commanded. I'm just doing that. That's what I was commanded to do. I'm just trying to take care of you, even though you don't like it, even though you don't want my help, even though you don't want to help me. I'm going to keep helping people that need help. And I believe this region is going to be a place of safety and healing and refuge and just basically building up the kingdom. But it's not going to happen without love. It will happen, but it's going to have to be some more. I don't know how it's going to happen, but love is going to have to prevail because love is the only thing. The most powerful force in the universe is love. That's the truth. What is the one thing that's going to overcome the enemy? How'd they overcome him? By the blood of the Lamb and the word of their testimony. And they love not their lives unto death. Why? How can you go to death singing praises read about the Scottish Covenanters and read Fox's Book of Martyrs. Read Haley's Bible Handbook. There's a lot of the martyrs in there. But how do you go to your death, standing on the scaffold and saying, or the about to be burned, or light the match, and say, help Brother Latimer. We shall light this day a candle that shall not be put out in all of England when they are burned at the stake. Hugh Latimer and Ridley and Latimer, I believe. Anyway, um, the Scottish Covenanters. What shall I say in this great day of the Lord, in which in the midst of turmoil and persecution we find sweet believing? I shall wish no more for you, my dear friends, that you may have as great a peace in staying in this world as I have in going out of it. Sweet believing. What shall I say in this great day of the Lord, wherein I have found a fair sunshine? That's Fair Sunshine. There's two books put together. It's now called Fair Sunshine. David Haxton was one of them. And they cut the heart from out of the living man, and waved it as a flag is waved upon the battle's van, and burned it as a beast is burned, some idol to appease, and cast the scattered ashes around like incense on the breeze. And they did it in the name of God. Where were his lightnings then, that came not with consuming fire to light the everlasting pyre of these blaspheming men? They were killing time from 1683 to 1688. 5 years. By the end of that time, there's not a single covenanting minister left alive in Scotland. They'd hunted them down and killed every one of them. Most of them very violently. And no more of the assembled people dared to meet in light of day, nor even in the dead of night, save when the wintry storms raged fierce, and compelled the men of blood to crouch within their dens. And thunder peals compelled the men of blood to couch within their dens. Then dauntlessly the scattered few would meet in some deep dell, by rock or canopied, to hear the voice, their faithful pastor's voice. He, by the gleam of sheeted lightning, oped the sacred book, and words of comfort spake. And the word of God by Cameron Thunder, or by James Renwick, poured in gentle stream. Then rose the song, the loud acclaim of praise, and the watcher's ear caught doubtfully at times on the distant cairns the breeze-born note. Could have been the cairn of the watchers, or the government troops, or the people, with the horse ready to go ride and warn them to disperse. But one of the men during that time, I'm going over this. I've been wanting to do this for some time, but this is what's going to be happening in this country, people. So you might as well face it. There's going to be very, very, very hard times. And what happened in Argentina, what happened in Bolivia, in Bosnia, Sarajevo, Bosnia was called the Paris of the Middle East. Sarajevo called the Bosnia of the Balkans. But, Argentina went down. The economy collapsed. Within a few days, you didn't let your dogs and cats out of the house because they didn't come back. They were eaten. Then you got to the point where you didn't let your children out because they would get eaten. So it's going to be like that in this country, I'm telling you. You better wake up and fly right. Better wake up and get your house in order, get prepared, and have a plan, have a place to go, have a way to get to that place, on foot if necessary. All I'm looking at right now is hand carts and walking, good boots, good clothing. I say, wear your shelter. Wear shelter. Have a good poncho. Have good wool sweaters, good, wool socks, wool shirt. Wool is fireproof. It's waterproof, pretty much. And it will stay, if it gets soaking wet, it'll still keep you warm. I've felt that time and time again. So wool hat, wool jacket, wool socks, step in streamy, freezing cold. 1 second later, your feet are warm. So look at the Sorel pack boots. They have a wool liner. I've stepped in freezing cold water from the Rockies at 10,000 feet in Colorado, and foot's cold, freezing cold for about 1 second, and then they're warm. So Mickey Mouse boots are great, but they're really heavy. bunny boots, Mickey Mouse boots, whatever. Look them up. I want to deal with shelter. Wear your shelter. Be able to stay alive in the wilderness with just what you're wearing, and or have it with you in a backpack. Have some food, water. And this isn't me telling you this. This is FEMA. I mean, this is the government telling you, have, a 72-hour pack. Have a plan. Have a way to get out. How to have a vehicle ready. Keep gas in it. This is all prepper stuff. Old hat. 30, 40 years old stuff. I'm not going to go over it. So that's not my plan. But what I am saying is that people are going to be walking. I've said for about 10 years now, drive now or walk later. Come now, drive now with your family, with your goods, with your prepping stuff, your food, your tools, your equipment, your weapons, friends, family, and get here and be part of the solution. Or you wait too long and you get here perhaps without all of your family, without all of your equipment, without any of your tools or equipment, without any of your weapons. But you make it maybe, and then you're part of the problem. We've got to take care of you. It's already is the case here. Refugees coming in and, no food, no money, no vehicle. I mean, I don't have a vehicle. I haven't had a vehicle for a while. 2 friends showed up and I've been taking care of them. And no vehicle, no food, no money. That's hard. It's hard. I don't mind because that's what I've been planning to do for all these years. But some gratitude on people's part would be very nice, very helpful, very, gee, thank you for helping me. Instead of, I don't like the food you cook. I'm not going to eat your food you cook. That ain't cool. Anyway, or if I can't cook the food, I'm not going to eat. Then don't eat. That's just the way it is. There's the road. I wish people would read Lucifer's Hammer, read Lights Out. I've read it. You get on my channel and find Lights Out. I can send you the link. I'll post a link here. I read that whole book. I think it's like 242 videos at least. And somebody stole the playlist and uploaded it to their channel, Slevin Clever or something like that. I don't even know if I have a playlist on my channel. Under my channel and getting any views for it. Not that I get paid for them, but somebody's raking in the money off of that, off of my work. And that's not right. And YouTube shouldn't allow it, but they do. They want to ban me and keep me from doing stuff. So anyway, I'm seeing things happen. I mean, I can walk about 1.5 miles, little community, growing homestead, and that's really awesome. About 8 tents, something like that already up. Well, 6 already up and 2 more laying on the ground, probably getting some sunlight and fresh air and stuff. So there are some things going on that are just phenomenal, because that's what I saw in 1980. I had a site burned into my mind. I can still see it today. It's like, it reminded me of one of those pictures you hang over your sofa, the outdoors and line of trees in the background, beautiful scenery. That's what it was like. But it was a line of trees across a field, across a pasture or something. And across that line of trees was a whole bunch of tents, on just different sizes and shapes. I think most of them were white. It wasn't a vision. There was nothing. It was not a vision. There was nothing moving. There was no dog, no cats, no smoke, no people, nobody walking around, nothing moving at all. Just tents. And there were a lot of them. And a lot of them were the same. And I was like, I just knew immediately that if those people were refugees, they showed up with nothing but the shirt on their back, and they needed help. And so I started helping them. I started buying stuff for those people that I may someday never see. May see them, may never see that site. I kind of think I could. I would look at the scene and go, maybe that's where I saw that picture. It was burned into my heart and mind. And so from that point on, I started buying and learning about survival and prepping and camping and outdoor stuff and hunting and fishing and, starting fires and all that, and buying equipment to do it with, primarily tents and, gear, shelter, clothing, boots, gloves. I have a whole 2 bags of gloves, Gore-Tex gloves for children, for my kids. I've never seen them since then. I mean, I hope I still have them somewhere. But my grandchildren may grow up and never see them, never use them. So somebody's going to show up and have a kid, and here's some Gore-Tex gloves. This these cost $100, it's $150 now. Well, here, they're free. Give me a chicken, you can have a pair of gloves. Give me 3 chickens, and you have a good sleeping bag. I mean, in Denver, one time I walked into Goodwill, it was all the sleeping bags were $10, no matter what they were. If they were stuffed with used Kleenexes, they were $10. I walked back there and I saw one fine Northern Goose eiderdown, like your 500-gram fill, big huge bag, and walked to the front, just smiling, kind of holding my breath, 95 cents. No, 10 bucks, 10 bucks, sorry. One time in Springfield, there was a 95-cent store, Goodwill, and in the back was a black coverall, black Carhartt, out their car, but black coveralls. You know, new label, brand new, label still on them with the tag. I walked to the front, holding my breath, and I got to the counter. The girl sitting there, standing there, and I said, "How much are these?" And she goes, looks at them. She looks at the label, looks up at me and smiles, and she goes, 95 cents. I went, sold. So, I've never seen them, never worn them. Same with the gloves. I don't know. I just pray that God has everything under control, and He has the gloves where they can be used, and at the time's right, they'll, like the Ark of the Covenant, it's going to come out when the time's right, and I'm believing that time may be not too far down the past, not too far down the future. So, it'll bring it out of Mount Magazine in Arkansas, and what's going to happen, I don't know. But that's where it is. I'm believing. So gloves that I have tents. I mean, I gave a tent away recently. It was a North Face tent. If you know anything about camping, North Face is like your top quality. A VE25 is like $500. The only thing the nearest I could find in this tent was like $180, and I think I bought it at a store in Denver for maybe $5-10, maybe $20 max. But I've been, every time I see something that can help people, I buy it. If I can do it, I'll buy it. I've been brainstorming. If you look at my YouTube channel, go to my channel and go to the playlist and see that I have like 1,000 playlists, literally. It's a whole university of information on health, camping, survival, hacking, energy, rocket stoves, Dakota fire hole, mushrooms. I mean, if there's a topic, I'll get videos together and I'll do a playlist on it and study it and upload them so that people can have information right at their fingertips. That's what I do. What I've been doing. Been doing it for free. I believe it's going to start paying now because it just has to. Because something's got to change. I could do a lot of things right now if I had some income, some money, and I don't. So, I can help this couple out in California. Back in the 1800s, the Mormon Church went over to Europe, and a lot of people converted to Mormonism, came over to America. You could barely get over here, and they're broke, and they don't have much money. And then they want to get to Utah. How do you get to Utah when you don't have any money? You can't buy a Conestoga wagon and oxen and buy all the equipment, saws and hatchets and axes and everything, and spinning whatever, milk churns and washboards and whatnot, and pack it on a wagon. And it made all the Indians. So Brigham Young came up with the idea of they can walk. So they got hand carts, big hand cart, big huge wheels, like 3-foot diameter wheels, big flat hand cart, and they only allowed 17 pounds of wheat per person, and they could have maybe 300 pounds, 400 pounds on those carts. Well, there were at least 5 groups, I'm not sure, and all the details, because it's been a while since I read up on them and studied it, but the last 2 groups in that year, the Martin and anyway, the last 2 set out too late in the year, and they got caught in a 100-year snowstorm, and a lot of them died, froze to death, died crossing rivers, died of pneumonia, died of just exposure, just froze to death. Literally, they'd go to sleep against a wheel and wake up in the morning frozen solid, from the cold, trying to cross rivers in bare feet and no boots. So very horrific, very difficult time. One of the most, weirdest times in all of American history. Maybe the weirdest time because, it was just it was a brilliant idea, and I'm not knocking Brigham Young because to me, it was one of the most ingenious, brilliant, think outside the box type of operations in the history of mankind. They got to go 1,300 miles. They can walk, no big deal, and they could have if they'd have left earlier, and it wouldn't have been such a destructive situation. But in the whole course of that, some things came out, things happened that will just, I believe, were prophetic, extremely prophetic. Okay, well, I read the book Devil's Gate because it was a Devil's Gate. Near Devil's Gate, in a place called Martin's Cove. There's a song, just bring them in, bring in the saints, something like that. Beautiful song. They took it off YouTube. Just, oh man, it had beautiful pictures and stuff, and scenes from the movie Ephraim's Rescue. I'll go into that in a minute. But I know I'm just blathering, but I don't care. If you don't want to listen, hang up or whatever. I usually get on there and see if anybody's. I'm going to get on in a minute and I'll take a stop. I'll shut my mouth and see who's talking. See if you have any questions. If you have any questions, ask. Um, so anyway, what happened was that one of the elders back east made the statement that, and I'm going to try to do this without crying. Some of these, because the whole situation is so prophetic. This elder said, "The day will come when millions of people will be coming with their children in their arms, and it will be up to the saints to bring them in, to go out and bring them in." That's the name of the song, "Bring Them In." Look it up and find it. Beautiful song. I can't sing it because I don't remember the lyrics that good enough, well enough, good enough. I don't know the lyrics good or enough. But anyway, so another thing that was very prophetic was that, these people got stranded, so they mounted a rescue operation. They knew it was going to happen. And there was a man named Ephraim Hanks, okay? Not Tom Hanks, Ephraim Hanks. And he was a young man, and Brigham Young saw something in him. He said, "There's a man who will do what I ask." So he asked him to ride from Salt Lake City to St. Louis to get mail back and forth. He'd made about 50 trips by the time this situation came about. You can watch a movie called Ephraim's Rescue. Watch it. It is a mind-boggling, just heart-rending, gut-wrenching, tear-jerking saga. Okay, and that helps. Settle down. Fly right. Straighten up and fly right. Okay, so by the time this handcar company situation happened, and I don't know why he wasn't head of one of the handcar companies. That would have been good. Would have helped him out. But anyway, by the time that happened, he had made 50 trips to and from St. Louis, from Salt Lake to St. Louis and back with mail, taking mail out and bringing mail back on horseback, horse and pack hose. Evading Indians, fighting off Indians, and healing Indians. One time he was captured and he was taken to the chief. And he said, "My son's dying. My grandson's dying. Heal him and you'll live." And he prayed for him and he was healed. Go out and bring them in. The other thing that I think is prophetic is the handcart operation. There is a company called Polymule, and look them up. It's a crowdfunded thing, and they're building them. I think they're in operation. I think they're in production enough to ship them. I don't know. They're pricey, yes, but they're designed to pack up on the top of the car, pull out your car breaks down, you take that out, pop it, the wheels out, they have a little covered wagon type scenario, completely indestructible, heavy duty polymer, probably like ABS plastic or something, but real heavy duty, big huge wheels with locks on the front. Instead of pulling it, you just drop the thing right just down, and it's a stand, like a jack stand for it. Phenomenal piece of equipment. Brilliant design. They completely redesigned the handcar company. And I wish I could I'd like to see 1 million of them in distribution right now and get them out to people. But people should buy them. So anyway, handcarts, that's what I'm looking at. And I'm doing what I can to, do something here. Prepare ahead of time for what's coming down at us. And I'm going to get into another topic here before long we might want to talk about. And that is sometime in April. I'm not going to say any more about that one. But if you have any knowledge about that, let me know. So, I wish I had my coffee or some kind of coffee. I just spilled it outside. Okay. So what's prophetic about that situation is that horrific snowstorm, wolves, Indians, and I don't know. They never showed in the movie Ephraim's Rescue that anybody was killed by Indians or wolves, but they did say there's one scene where this little crippled guy, midget crippled guy, had crutches, and he tells a story about, this wolf was snarling at him, and God told me to poke him in the nose, so I poked him in the nose with my crutch, and he ran away. And This one guy got mad at him for being a braggart or something. Anyway, that man died en route. Um, Albert. But the one scene, I think my favorite scene in the whole movie is that Ephraim Hanks, deep snow, has his Hawken rifle, and he bows his head. He's standing by his horse. And he said, "Lord, please let a buffalo be placed before my eyes." He looked up, and 200 feet away was this big old buffalo. Shouldn't have been there. All the buffalo migrated out of the area. And he says, "Lord, what took you so long?" And he shoots it, drops it, cuts the meat up. Raw meat. He pulls into the camp, and he sees them, and people are wide-eyed, and they're haggard, and they're emaciated, and starving, and blackened hands, and gangrene on their feet, and he starts handing out out of his cellar, big frozen chunks of buffalo meat in there, and they prayed and started eating it raw, just wolfing it down. And one woman says, looks up at him and says, I think your name is Elizabeth. "You and God have rescued us. For this she shall be known for generations." That's a prophecy. So my intention, this is what I'm working on. I have one family that are going to build a watchtower. That around the perimeter of the Ozark Plateau, about 1,000 watchtowers. And I sing this song, the lyrics. I'm not going to sing it because my voice is shot. I'm going to have to quit this here pretty quick. I have seen him in the watchtowers of 1,000 circling camps around the perimeter, the round part of the Ozark Plateau, the river basins. It's across the river, a signal. And this family going to build. They know how to build it. They're going to build a watchtower and have fire going up there. So that's just thrilling, absolutely thrilling. And there's, like I said, a camp right back here, a little acreage that 8 tents or better. It's like a little village already, and that's going to be happening, springing up all over. It already is, but it's going to happen more and more. I mean, it's going to happen like overnight. And the next thing I've seen is that what I saw in my vision. Now, what I talked about earlier was just a sight, a picture in my mind, burned into my mind in 1980. Boom. That year I fell in love with. I had that sight in my mind. I fell in love with teepees, and I fell in love with a cylinder stove from Cedar City, Utah, Mormon operation, and Chad Evans. And I talked with him for like 5 minutes. He gave me a demo of the thing at the Sportsman Show in Denver. And I assessed that thing immediately as the best, the perfect survivalist stove. And so for 20 years, I wanted to get one. I had teepees made in 1993 or so. 2 teepees, a 16-foot. I was ordered a 16 and a 12. And I had the money to pay for that. And the lady called me and says, "Hey, I want to check with you before I do this." But she said, "I'm really good at laying out fabric." And I said, "There's enough material here that I could make," might have boosted some of her own material into it, but she said, "I can make a 14-foot and a 17-foot. I'm like, wow. I knew that, you increase circle 1 foot, it makes a lot bigger square footage and a lot more volume too. It's way more volume. So we're out here. Oh, that's hard on here, things. Oh. So that'll bring us up to advice on driving. Can you hear me? Still rolling? Okay. Sorry about that. I was trying to wake up. Energize. Give me a really bunny battery. Where was I at now? That blew my train of thought. Refugees, Ozark Plateau. Okay, so around the perimeter of the Ozark Plateau, I want to see 1,000 every mile. I mean, I'm saying I'm at ballpark and all this. It's roughly the river basin. Forms. If you look on Google, I see like a circular region. And from the time when we left Denver, we left in 1997, moved to Kansas, and just ended up in La La Land. Like, oh my God, it wasn't so much. I thought I'd be totally emotionally traumatized by the not being in the Rockies. Didn't bother me a bit because I could go walk outside. The thing was, the Rockies was nice. It was nature. I was outside in the wilderness, but I had to drive 2 or 3 hours to get there. So, but go move to Kansas, and we're like, well, I can walk out of town. I moved from a front range population of 2 million people to a little teeny town of 200, but the same damnable things applied. Government trying to tell you what to do, and city people thought they had power over other people and lording it over them. You can't have that car in that garage. Why not? It's in the garage. You can't. It's got to be insured and plated and licensed. We're going to leave those somewhere we don't have to do that. Not to worry about that shit. So I moved to Missouri. Anyway, Bunny Trail. Rewind. Rewind. Pause. So, front range population too much. Good. So we moved to Kansas. Information vacuum. That was kind of traumatic, more than the lack of nature. The other thing was money. It's kind of a shocker. Oh, I can make $200 an hour in Denver, and here I can make $7 an hour. There's an adjustment. Moved to the country, we're going to make an adjustment. We did really well. My ex-wife called it boot camp for Missouri, getting used to ticks, chiggers, ice storms in January, and snowstorms in March. Those 4 things. Boot camp. Good name for it. So we moved here, and now you don't have to worry about vehicles. You drive around with no license, no insurance. Whatever. Not good to do, but so. To Kansas, I started hearing through the grapevine. When we left Denver, I have a smartphone now, so I can't remember phone numbers. But when we were in Denver, I could pick up the phone and dial from memory 300 people. 300 people. I can't remember 3 phone numbers now. I had a smartphone, and I'm stupid. But anyway, so. So I started hearing that so-and-so moved here, Splanick moved here, and Presley moved here, and Roger moved here, and Dora moved here, and Sally moved here, and Bob moved here, and John moved here. And there's so many dots on this map. I had the Grand McNally map with the Continental United States road map on it. I had so many dots. I went, that's a circle on it. I drew a circle around it. So in 2001, my son and I are in Estes Park, Colorado for a fiber optics training seminar. We were going to do fiber optics. We were going to be paid cash under the table. From the time we left our house to the time we got back. If we went to Ring, Seattle. It took 3 months. We'd be taking 24 hours a day, like $50 an hour. The guy said we would be making $30,000 to $40,000 a piece a month. And never happened because of 2001. The World Trade Center dropped the bottom out of the market, so never made a nickel. But while we were there, we were staying with a guy named Craig Weeks, old 72-year-old guy that I knew from Patriot Movement. And I called him up and said, hey, Craig, we're going to be in Estes Park, Colorado for a fiber optics training seminar. He said, oh, you need a place to stay. Well, you can stay in my cabin. You can stay at the Chinook on the River or in my cabin. So we stayed in his cabin. NBT, no bunny trails. Okay, so while I was there, I said, Craig, you got to move to, I showed him my map. I got the same map. Yeah. Granted, we do some people the same, but he lived way up in Estes Park, not in Denver. I live in Denver, Aurora, Colorado, as a matter of fact. He had the same circle on his map, and he showed me. I said, Craig, why don't you move there? You got 160 acres in Phoenix, Arizona. Sell it. 40 acres up in Carter Lake, Colorado. Sell it. Get out of here. Come out and help. No, I'm sure he died there. I kid you not. He didn't want to pay to have the septic tank pumped out, so he would not or use water. So we had the toilet would fill up. It's weird. He wanted to save money to buy little booklet, Constitution booklet. So he would not spend anyway. He was a miser. So he had 160 acres, 200 acres in high dollar place. 160 in Phoenix and 40 up in Lake Mountains in Colorado. Probably died a, multi-millionaire, but, paying for Constitution so he could hand them out to people. We the people, the false god of the Constitution. Anyway, all right, so I'm running out of steam here. So same map, same circle. So from that time on, I just look at that region. If everybody I know, who I consider good friends, close people, good friends, we're moving there must be something about that region. Circular. And the Ozark Plateau is like diamond shaped. But the river basins around it are circular, and then they're fertile, and they're maybe not high in the mountains. I got to be 2,000 feet. No, ocean level's rise isn't going to take a while to get here. 800 feet is pretty good. Most of where around here are around 1,000 feet. But anyway, circular region. Okay. A good man draws a circle and brings within it his woman and children. Other men draw a larger circle and bring within it their brothers and sisters. But some men must draw a much, much larger circle and bring within it many, many more. Your father was one of those men. You must decide for yourself if you are as well. And I'm hoping one of my sons or grandsons can extract cranium from rectal deficit, pull their head out of their asses, and start helping me instead of hindering me. Anyway, circular region. Plan to walk. If you're not here, you better plan to walk. I think that's where we're at. Come April, I think lives are going to change. I don't want to talk about that right now because my voice is gone, so I'm going to quit. Not whether life's going to change in April, I think. I could be wrong. I don't think I am, but why am I saying that? Let me get my glasses on and see who's up and on here. I wish I had a better place to do this, but than in the bathroom. These were boonie and I'd lace them through the things, but that's ear protection. Got them on 24 hours. I can kind of flip them and stay inside and put it on so they're not dangling down looking stupid. Anyway. Yeah. Okay, not. Zion, I'm in. Oh, that's funny there. Cowboy Hippie Life. Hey, how you doing? You can always come back and visit sometime. Yeah. Yeah, Independence, Missouri is like the, Zion for the Mormons. And I quoted in my book, this is 24 years ago, How to Get Out of Babylon. Joseph Smith said that the day will come when there will be so many refugees coming in here that there will be the threat of starvation. Not that the land is not capable of providing food for that many people. It's just that there's a difficult time between the influx of people. It's hard to have enough stored food to feed that many people instantly. But guess what? You're not going to die of starvation for 3 weeks. I got people that are whining about having enough to eat. I'm not going to die for 3 weeks. I'm not that concerned about food. I'm more concerned about water, and I'm even more concerned about shelter. Because if you don't have shelter within 3 hours, you're going to die. Red desert, cold climate, exposure to rain, wind, snow, ice. You got 3 hours to get shelter. That's why you need to learn how to build the shelters. There's hundreds of videos, thousands of videos on YouTube about building shelters, going out in the wilderness and just building a Morris Kokarski super shelter. Learn how to do that. There's a book. I got to get into this. I'm not going to do another video on it because I dedicated one to this whole topic because what I saw in my vision in the year 2000 was an underground house, and I'll just describe it real quick because my voice is going. I can't stand very long. But I see a couple, a man and a wife and 2 kids, a boy and a girl. Each couple's holding one of their hands, and they're coming straight toward me out of the woods. What I was given to know in that vision, and this was a vision. This was like 3 o'clock in the morning at church. My wife and I just, she was there on the week for waiting for a woman to give birth at a church, and she's staying in a dormitory. And I go on a weekend to visit her and have a conjugal visit, right? So we just had a conjugal visit. Read between the lines, and I'm wide open. I mean, I'm wide awake. I'm wide open. The blood's pumping. I'm sucking in oxygen, and I see I'm in this scene. This young couple coming through the woods, boy and a girl, coming right toward me, I look over this way, and there's a home, an underground home. There's a door in the side of the hill, right? Okay, not a home, but there's a door there, and they curl around. They see the door and they go over to it. There's a welcome mat, and on the sign on the door is a sign. The sign is a door. On the door is a sign that says, "We built this house for you. If you find it and it's empty, it's yours. We built it for you." And so I just knew, God gave me to know whatever that this was happening thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of times across a big region. Well, I think I know where it's at. And so, and inside, I kind of go inside with them, and there's a stove ready to light up. There's wood in it, ready to kindling in the whole 9 yards. Top lit up draft fire. Top lit up to TLUD. Top lit up draft fire. And wooden matches there. And on the right is a kitchen with food, plates, pots, pans, dishes, silverware, cups, saucers. You name it. Everything they needed. Spices, the whole 9 yards. Everything. Light a fire and cook meal. So canned food, whatever. Not a lot of. I didn't see any hanging beef or anything. Hanging smoke. Or anyway, so. And it was so moving because what I knew. I mean, it's like I was in heaven. I mean, I knew that there were millions of these things going on. I was just seeing one, but I just knew that it was this massive operation, and there are hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of these things going on. People are coming in and saying, "Wow, I found this house. It says it's ours, so we'll move in." And they're hidden, completely invisible. I mean, many years, about 15 years later, I described it to a guy and said it was invisible from above. And he goes, "That's good because there's going to be a lot of surveillance and drones and stuff." I'm like, "Holy shit, yeah, you know, no kidding." So I always said I never thought that I love Star Wars and I love the Terminator movies, but I never really thought when I was watching those that we're going to face that stuff. Yeah, we're going to face walkers and robots and that want to kill people and drones and all kinds of crap like that. So. People are boxing robots, which is not a good idea. I've seen a few of those. They're probably dying, because they box back and forth, and the robot clocks the guy and probably tears his head off. Anyway, not good. Don't play with robots. Robots are not your friend. AI is not your friend. All right, so where was I out there? Yeah, rewind. Rewind. So, okay, so I see this, and I know that there's millions of these around, and that imagine, okay, building a home for someone you haven't met, you may never meet, probably never will meet, never even see them, because you're building this home, build another one, build another one, build another one. Now the other way this could happen was like all these people out there around the country, they're building underground shelters, dugouts. I mean, there's probably 100,000 videos on YouTube building a dugout. And that's the best way to do it. Okay, so dugout shelter, and what I saw was just you could have the dugout, but then it's like covered over with maybe vines, and you couldn't see. The only thing you could see was the door. That's the only thing. And the door could have been camouflaged well too. But I mean, I was saying that what I was seeing was this underground home ready for occupancy by whoever found it, and that there were a lot of them. So what that said to me was that there had to be this massive amount of love, and that's what I felt in the video. And I sensed it was so powerful. I mean, I cried for like an hour, maybe an hour and a half. My wife was sitting there and going, "What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? What's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong?" I couldn't talk. I could not. I was completely speechless, utterly speechless for like 2 hours. You know, that, you know, there was silence in heaven. This kind of thing. I couldn't talk. I could not talk at all for like an hour and a half, 2 hours. So I think that was the end of our marriage, really, because she never did cotton to the idea of helping people. One time she screamed at me. "I don't care if millions of people die." Okay, well, more to that. She was a midwife at the time, but I can have enough grief, concern for one woman, one mom, and one kid. Okay, I understand that. But I've been mocked by my whole family. Going, "No, you think the world's going to end? You think it's going to happen on April 9th? End of the world. Well, do some study on great total eclipses. I'm going to say it real quick. Total eclipses. Cities that had a total eclipse go over them. and what happened to those cities. Well, this is not just one. Like 2017, big black line across America. 2024, 7 years later, big black line across America the other way. And where is the center of it? It's a big, gigantic black X right over Cairo, Illinois, the center of America, and Missouri. Missouri Sucre Disco. And the word for Egypt is what? Hebrew? Mitzrayim? I was breaking down Genesis 49:10. The Father gave me the interpretation of that one time. Pray for code words. Okay. Lord, show me code words. Boom. Genesis 49:10 opened up to me, which I meant the scripture that I had bugged me for 20 years. And I started looking at the definition of the word, Hebrew, what the meaning of the word in Hebrew. Well, it came to Egypt. For some reason, it mentioned Mitzrayim. It said this, and my youngest son Isaac, standing behind me, said, "Dad, that looks like Missouri." And I went, "Don't be stupid or don't be silly, one of the two." And turned back around, and I read, "This word Mitzrayim can be transliterated into English as Miseri or Misuri. Missouri or Missouri, one of the two. I'm sorry. I apologize to him. It's very perceptive. Yeah, I think it's very empathic and very intuitive. Used to be. I don't know if he still is, but I haven't talked to him too much lately. All right, that's about it. My voice is gone. I'm done for the night. Ooh, an hour. Wow, that's crazy. I was plodding for an hour. Sorry, I apologize. Sell your home, dump it. I knew a couple that the guy built a home, spent $75,000 to build in materials, and he $75,000 in labor. So every month he dropped the price $5,000 until it sold, and he dropped it $75,000 from what he wanted to get. 150 was what he wanted out of it. This is back years ago, 2013, 10. Anyway, he sold it. There, lived out in Oklahoma. Anyway. All right. Where'd all the comments go? Live chat. Kaiser, yeah. X marks the spot, yeah. It's, yep. Anyway, I'm not going to go into that. I'm done. Good night. Thank you for listening. A lot of things are happening. My sense is that things are speeding up. I need to get me a 100% organic, natural, non-GMO, organic cigar so I could chop on and go, "I love it when a plan comes together." Like Colonel Smith of 18. That's what I think is going to happen. I started seeing the plan back in 1980, refined in 1993, and then moved out of Denver in 1997. And then 2002, right about the 2001, 2002, moved to Missouri. And it's just become more crystallized, more powerful, more intense, more clear, and just like laser clear to me anyway. Maybe some people don't see it, but oh well, sorry, all that good stuff. All right, I helped found the Well-Fed Neighbor Alliance, and that's the best defense in hard times is a well-fed neighbor. If your neighbor's well-fed, he's not going to ignore with his gun. And if you're the one that's providing his food for him, he may just defend you, might just protect you from others. So anyway, that's enough said. All right, God bless. I love you. I just see majesty. I mean, majesty. We worship His majesty. Oh, what the hell was that? Oh, the chair fell over. The ringer. Yeah. Oh well. 3 points in a poem. I should have a poem ready, but I don't. I did a few earlier though. Oh, here's one. I'll try to get through it. Richard Cameron, the one of the Covenanters. There's what I think it was disbanded about 1964, but there was a Cameroonian regiment in the British Army for many years, many decades, many about 100 years, 200 years, something like that. I don't know. Anyway, they were a very well thought of and very powerful regiment. The King of England had declared, they're tunning down people and killing them right and left. Women, children, blown brains out all over Scotland. Richard Cameron rode into the little town of Sanquhar with 20 men dismounted and posted a declaration of war upon the King of England. And he stated that, not in the, I don't know if it was in the Declaration, but it's one of the things that the American Declaration of Independence is based on. And Teddy Roosevelt said that if it were not for the Scottish Covenanters upholding religious freedom, there would be no America. So take that to heart and read about them. These were real men. And Cameron, they declared war on the King of England and the 10,000 armed dragoons. So my son and I wrote a poem about that. The scenario is here is that there was a guy named Alexander Peden who was a prophet of the covenant. He was held a prisoner on Bass Rock, or Base Rock, whatever, for like 2 years or something. His food and water, and that was it. Cold, freezing weather. He survived. Old man, white-haired old man, but he had a lot of prophecies. He married a young couple, John Brown and his wife Isabel. He said, Isabel, keep a winding sheet nearby you because you're going to need it and when you least expect it, to wrap wrap your husband's brains in. So the child on the moss she laid, and she stretched the cold limbs of the dead, and drew the eyelid shade, and wrapped the martyr in his plaid, and bound the corpse's shattered head, and where the dead and living slept, sat in the wilderness and wept. So, but Peden, weird things like that, he prophesied things and they happened, or he saw things. He's like visionary. He'd see things happening as they were happening 100 miles away or something. But anyway, so one day he was sitting at Richard Cameron's grave and he said, "Oh, to be with Richie. Oh, to be with Richie." He wanted to be in heaven with Richie. "Oh, to be with Richie," was the prophet's plaintive cry as he sat in contemplation at the grave where did lie Richard Cameron, the Lion of the Covenant, Richard Cameron his name, who boldly rode into Sanquhar and boldly did proclaim war upon the wicked king and all of Scotland's might. And this was but a score of men who stood to do the right. They challenged all the might and power of 10,000 armed dragoons. And even though Cameron fell before yet many moons, the wicked king and all his ilk had perished from the earth, proving again the need for faith and the need for men of worth, who standing in faith will act, and standing in the scripture will act, and standing in faith will, anyway, I forgot it, sorry, that's what always confused me. Changing the course of history by standing on biblical fact, that's the last line, yeah. You can change the course of history if you stand on biblical fact, and they did. And Cameron made the prophecy, he said, the King of England will be taken down, the throne of England will be taken down under the the banner we carry, Christ's crown and covenant, for Christ's crown and covenant. And somebody's email is that, and they left that, they shipwrecked, or they're shipwrecking, sadly. Anyway, so when William of Orange, this glorious revolution of 1688, the killing times was 1683 to 1688. And in 1688, William of Orange rode in to London and took down the King of England, took down the throne, captured the throne, under the covenanting banner of the Cameronian banner. Yeah. All right. God bless. See ya. Bye bye.